All right. Hello. My name is Perlini Bush. I am the head varsity softball coach at the Lovett School here in Atlanta, Georgia. Um, Before I go into my presentation, just want to give you guys a quick background. So, I am originally from California, Southern California, and I played for the University of Arizona, graduated in 2012. And then after that, I ventured out here to Atlanta and um, coached collegiate softball at Emory University. And prior to moving here, I was coaching at Cal Lutheran University, both Division III programs, as well as leading some high school programs and elite travel programs in the South Bay. Um, Now, being here since 2016, I oversaw a few DBAT facilities and helped grow the softball there, as well as currently instruct for a lovely facility located in Marietta, Georgia, called Champions Fast Pitch Academy. So my stay here in Georgia has been amazing and very career lifting. And I'm just so blessed to be a part of the Levitt program as it's opened opportunity to finally be able to settle down, especially as a mother of three girls. Um, so I can still serve uh, the softball community, but also be a part of the education world realm. So let's go ahead and move on into the presentation. Um, I chose to speak about how we can be successful or drive success as a first year coach. So it's not my first year coaching, but it was my first year coaching in Georgia. And so I felt like that could be something that I could pay forward to the next. And I really hope you guys gain a lot of knowledge and questions. And if you need to get a hold of me, please do not hesitate. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen with y'all. And we're going to go ahead and get started. So here we are, how to drive success your first year coaching. It's really a big question that I think all of us in coaching for any sport wonder, what is it this year that's going to help us be successful? And I wanted to be able to point out, some of the things that I believe helped me. So here we are. It starts with you. Who are you? You could be a parent, you could be a husband, wife, a teacher, a first time coach, a highly decorated travel coach getting into this type of new you know form of sport and opportunity. But you need to ask yourself, who are you? And what that means for me is I'm a mom of three girls, and being a coach and being surrounded all my life through my development as a player, I had a very huge support system. And what I take from that is that I care, people cared for me and they loved on me and they wanted to see me win. They wanted to see me be successful and be the best version of myself. And so when I see that question, I truly believe in order for us to drive success, it starts with knowing who you are so you can lead others. The next question is, what is your why? I think as athletes before we became coaches, we were challenged with, why are you doing this? What is your reason? What is your purpose? How does this serve you? How does this serve our team? And so, down the line, after life's changed, 2012, finishing college and experimenting in the coaching realm, to now 2020, coaching so many years since then, and impacting lives. The biggest thing for me is family. I am a Polynesian, a Samoan descent, woman, and I come from a culture of where family is always there no matter what. Good, bad, indifferent, it doesn't matter. We are there. And those are solid themes that you want to have for a team, for a team environment. You want your people to feel accepted. You want them to feel that they are a part of this. You want them to be involved. You want them to feel respected and loved. And I believe that word itself, family, defines not only what I love and adore the most, but it really helps create an experience for each group that I meet and as I coach. So I think that is a great question to ask yourself before coming into anything as a coach is you got to know why you're doing this. Now, next question is how does this impact your targets? Who are your targets? What are you trying to impact? And question that to go deeper, it's questions like how can I be a positive influence? How can I leave a long lasting memory? And for me, the how do I impact my targets, my children, my players, my families, my administrative staff. I try to make it a fun and memorable experience, being genuine, being authentically positive and supportive for one another. Um, Student athletes, the one thing that they will always reflect back on are the relationships they built. They're not always going to look back at, well, I remember when we won this game. There's so many games. Yes, some that are huge, but not everyone gets that. And for me, I really believe that no matter what, that it has to be fun and a memorable experience. Now, last question. And this is all based on how you start with yourself, preparing yourself. And you need to know what you need. And I capitalize need in this question because in order for you to serve others, you cannot just wake up one day and think that, oh, I'm just going to go ahead and win a championship. You have to know what it takes to get there. You have to know what it requires. And it should be a consistent thing that travels throughout the entire season from preparation to starting your season to battling it out. It should always be the same. And for me, it's having willing participants who will work hard and respect each other no matter what. If you are going into coaching, you have to make sure that your people are committed and that they really will work hard no matter the result of wins or losses, that they have that in them to push themselves and also to respect each other. If you don't have respect, you don't have a winning program. You don't have a program at all. So those are the biggest things when it comes to you. So I wanted to share a few things here where I pulled from my pretty much my philosophy. And I hope this goes far for you guys and help you create your own philosophy, including your missions, visions, and all of those fun things. So for me, in my mission for my softball team was with good character and teamwork, we will produce honorable, faithful, and committed players. Um, some important things that you should highlight, for your parents and your players before starting off at all on a field or court is you need to make sure they understand the mission of the program and highlighting that it takes good character, it takes teamwork, these loaded words that mean a lot more that will help them, try to meet these things, try to be these things, and to have it as a lasting memory of what makes a athlete, what makes the love it athlete for us is honorable, faithful, and committed players. So moving forward after going over your mission statement and you're trying to help them understand your mission statement is also, what created who you are today and how it's going to transfer to them. And so when you're going into your next phase of the most important part is selecting your team. Three big things really stood out to me. The first one is your support system, starting with your staff and volunteers. So for me, it was very important that when I came in as a coach, that I sat down with my coaching staff. For me, coming into coaching at Lovett, my staff was already established, and that's fine. You have willing people who are wanting to be involved. And so I sat down with my staff members individually and just chat about, their backgrounds and also their strengths and what made them love the program and what experiences they had that push them to want to continue being influencers and mentors and leaders to young women. And that is a huge thing that I believe as a coach, you need to have people who have your back, who have your best interest, who also can help balance you out, which leads us to the next thing, weighing all options. Okay, so weighing all options, what I mean by that is you have to go in open minded, looking for not just athletes, talent, um, looking for people that have the highest IQ. You want to also make sure you have leaders. You want to make sure you have the right personalities that can complement and balance the group out. You also want to make sure that you are finding individuals who have that special thing, like for example, you have someone who is maybe not as talented but they have the potential, and you can put time in with them, or they're willing to go put extra time to help meet their expectations and your expectations. You also want to make sure that you can find those players or athletes who have grit, the ones that you have to literally slow down. You always have one or two in the bunch, and they're great because you don't want the same personalities, because then you can't really move them and be influential or try to be as intentional as you want to get these wins, but you didn't provide the correct group of girls that could challenge each other, heal each other, work with one another. And also, the most important thing that you have to make sure you weigh is that they are here for the experience to be a part of a team that's going to work hard. And that leads to the next thing. Transparency is very key. Transparency is a necessary thing, and not everyone is comfortable being direct or honest, but that is something that as a coach you must have. You have to have it in you to tell your student or staff or parents directly what it is. And when you communicate, you have to also know how to balance that out. Someone used to tell me, you got to speak with sugar and honey. And I never understood that because I was just such a straight shooter early on in my days coaching. And people would say, even my exterior looks very intimidating because I'm a strong person. I have the background I have. And so I'm not very soft spoken. But when I was told, you have to be able to speak with sugar and honey, you got to be able to give something sweet and you got to make sure that it's delivered in a sweet way too. And so that helped me deal and handle some tough conversations because I understood that balance when talking to someone about you know, cri- physical critiques or technical critiques or even, just personality things that we needed to bring to their attention. So just trying to be honest, but also understanding that you have to learn tactics and strategize on how is the best way to communicate with a certain individual based on their personality, their voice, how they perceive or receive information. And I believe that's going to be very helpful when you are selecting a team. So remember, it's have a strong staff that can support you, that can balance you out, that can do the things you can't do. So you're able to delegate those jobs so they can help you more. Weigh out all the options when looking at a tryout and trying to figure out who to pick. Figure out, look at all key things from their physical standpoints to their personality to how they communicate and their dedication. And then be honest when selecting these people because you're committing to help create a fun and lasting experience while serving them to help them meet their goals as well. So those are big for you, and I hope this helps. So, moving on, vision is key. You need to be able to share what it is and what it looks like to be a part of that program. So, for me, it was they're helping individuals get 1% better every day in all they do. Why don't I put 100% better? Well, it's impossible. So, to be able to provide a measurable goal that we can hit every day, trying to strive to push others to get their peers 1% better every day with everything that they do, with all that they do. When I mean all, I mean life, their talent, their skills, their personality, their communication. You know, there's so many things when it comes to all because that is the overall student athlete experience that I want my players in my programs to remember that we may not win every day, but you got to ask yourself, did you get 1% better than you did yesterday? Did you get a little bit closer? That not only helps the student understand, you know, making goals or setting goals, it also keeps them accountable because they can look back and they know what their efforts were giving to the program. They know what when they were cutting themselves short. This is a simple way to measure how much the student really understands the goal that they want to leave this program, knowing that in life, they're always going to keep striving to get just 1 inch closer or 1% better. And I believe that is very key as a coach. You need to be able to share that vision with them so they can get on board. And this helps remind them, why they are doing this and what they agreed to be a part of. All right. So this is probably the biggest thing in my presentation, and it's influence buy-in immediately. All right. So, it doesn't matter how decorated you are. I played for Coach Candrea, and he's a very decorated man at the University of Arizona. The one thing I took away from him is that he keeps up with the times. He adjusts very well to the different generations. And it's not drastic. Like, I'm not saying he's sitting there listening to my whole rap playlist for pregame. Like, that's not it at all. He just understood how to help drive each new group that he met. And so that really stuck with me as a coach, that when you are going into new groups, you need to be able to know what kind of group you're dealing with. And so I pointed out three things that I believe you need to know on how to get quick buy in from your players and staff. So, first is map out expectations visually. So, visually, what I would do is I present it in paper form, and then I also present it on our whiteboard that we have in our office. And so mapping out all the expectations to the players as far as what time you're expected to be at the field, what their roles are and their duties when they are preparing for practice, what their game day duties are. Parents, letting them know exactly the expectations of how they should communicate or where they need to be for games and practices. These are very key, even to the T of the way your uniform um, is worn, what you should have and organized in your bag. Like, all of these things are very important and it helps create less conflict, less issues. If you can map out everything in a detailed way for them to see, you should never be questioned and you can always reference back to it. The next thing is create excitement for all involved. Now, how did I create excitement? Um, I used my resources during to have been able to coach a whole season in a pandemic with COVID. Who would have thought any of us would get to do that? Um, that really threw me off. So in July, we have open workouts, voluntary workouts for the players. And I wasn't able to meet any of them before that. So I created, and I was very intentional, I created um, a meeting via Zoom. We did virtual meetings. Um, I think it was like probably like a week or two long of scheduled talks that we did. And so, with that being said, I wanted to make sure that I hit points like how can we prepare in the off season, and I had a guest speaker. One of those guest speakers was Brianna Tautelafua from UCLA, who had just won the national championship for them, which is also a cousin of mine. But it's really good when you can tap into your resources and people to help give back. So to be able to present that to the players and let them have Q&A talks, we continued that to where we did discussions on, how to prepare your mental psyche before in the during the pandemic. What are you experiencing? And that was with Kaylani Ricketts from Oklahoma and Team USA. There was so many opportunities for me to get to learn my players and potential players and parents because of the way the world just happened. I had to be creative, and that is what I'm saying to you is you have to be creative enough and willing enough and passionate enough to create these different opportunities, discussions, team bonding, reading a book. Like, these are things that are helping build the relationships, the expectations, the visuals of how you can share what you're about without it just being you talking. And so, I really want you to know, in order for you to influence buy in immediately, you've got to be creative and willing to go that far to get to help them see that you are committed. Now, last but not least, it is Very key, and it's one of the things that I think all of us coaches deal with is making sure we focus on organization and communication. So before you're presenting to your first team meeting, when teams are selected, you're having a general meeting about what your program's about, expectations of the season, just a general consensus of, what they have to expect. And if you're not organized or have it together, you're not going to get them to really take you serious. And so for me, because of the type of background I have with playing high travel, playing high division 1 softball, coaching high level programs, it really is just a part of who I am, and I expect it to be the same as well. So, the way I present my calendars, I always present a paper copy slash a emailed PDF document, so everyone is on the same page. I try to make sure that we go through line for line and always open the floor to the families and students for any questions. So there's clarity and people feel validated if they weren't sure about stuff. And so, being organized even when cancellations happen, being able to communicate these things immediately with a secondary and third plan in place. You have to be on the ball with these things because the less your people have to worry, the better your experience is for yourself, but also for your people. So those are three things that you should be focused on when trying to create buy-in from your team. Map out expectations visually, create excitement for all involved, and make sure or you have organization and communication in all things. So outcome. This is really one of my favorites. This helped um, kind of mold my team. And so what I stated as far as the outcome expectations are softball players will develop a love for the game not because of the home run or strikeout, but because of the support and dedication they give to their teammates, coaches, family, and community every day. Philippians 4:13, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. Like that is a Bible verse that really influenced this quote is being able to give your all with with the support of dedicating and giving to others, serving others. And so the outcome of the Lovett student is that when they leave here, win or lose, they're going to have a better understanding of being a servant to others and creating positive influence, experiences, impacts. Like we want to be able to give them long lasting positive memories. And this here is what it stems from. And I hope when someone asks you like what do I expect from this season from you, it shouldn't be, well, we're going to take state or we're going to take region or you know you're going to get this many at bats. That's not what I coach about. It's more than that. It's about life. It's about making sure that when we're coaching young women, that we are helping them understand that they are more than just what they want to make it, for what it is. Like you're not just softball player who throws a ball, pitches a ball, hits the ball. You are an influence in the community. You are a mentor to someone watching you. Like there's so much more there. And I always tell my students that we have to play as if it's our last because there are others out there who are not able, having purpose. And so, that is very key when when you're a first year coach trying to drive success. You have to have clarity on what the outcome experience is going to be for your students. Purpose. Play for your family, which could be your teammates, relatives, friends, veterans, first responders, the ill, a child, or someone who cannot physically do it themselves. Play because you love to play. So, to be able to provide your students what purpose means, this was my version and way to define to them, you know, why we do what we do. We do this not just for the love of the game, but because we want to be able to give it our all, because there others are unable to. Others are restricted the blessings we have. And so for me, the love it experience, the softball experience, whenever I coach someone, is to help them tap into their why and their reason and their purpose, because we will go back to those moments of when we feel defeated. And I ask them, well, what's your purpose? Why are you doing this? Who is this for? And these are key things to have and to show your families and students, because this is what really makes the experience as great as it is. Where people say, I just don't know how to explain it. It's just an awesome experience. And this is what I'm talking about. Being able to teach these life-changing moments, these milestone moments of people from different walks of life who have a totally opposite background than me, and to be able to share this with them so they can experience it for the first time while also learning to play this sport, you're winning. You've done your job, you're coaching, and this is how you help them become successful. So, character. I have this in my philosophy, my coaching philosophy. And so, as it shows, character is the foundation of the pyramid, which sets the bar to reach our best performance as a student athlete. We can expect to build our character every day so we can be better than yesterday. Never let fear sway you away from the goal. Embrace the fear so that you may grow in every part of the process. Do not miss your chance to grow because of your fear of failing. Character is everything. Character is what the cloth that we all are cut from. And you know when there's someone that's just not cut from the same cloth, and those that are. And for me, in order to play this sport or play any sport, character is that foundation. You have to have good character. And you know, this is a really big deal because the student knowing the student athletes I have, um, knowing the environment we are in, knowing that today's world, helping them understand that character will define who they are and most the biggest opportunities that they're trying to reach, and it's going to be the thing that makes or breaks them. I really I really want them to take away that they shouldn't be scared or let fear of failing get in their way. They should look at every opportunity. And it's our job as coaches to help clean up their character, to help show them right from wrong, to help mold them into better versions of themselves. And so when you see that it says we can expect to build our character every day so we can be better than yesterday, like that right there is a moment for one of your students or for yourself or your colleagues, a light bulb moment to know that you have a chance every day to get better. And if you have that get it done mindset, never quit mindset, you have good character. And this is how I provided a visual to my students by sharing this with them. And we have it in their booklets, we have it in their notebooks, um, because we always want to get better every day. So let's talk about our emotions and how we can get connected and more relational practice plans. Okay, there are a few bullet points that I wanted to highlight for you guys. Consistent warm ups. You have to have consistent warm ups. When I came to my program, it was just a quick stretch, barely conditioning, and it didn't really serve a purpose. So we do a very good job creating dynamic warm ups. We require them to take no less than 20 minutes in their stretches, given our practices are only 2 hours. So we are constantly moving and we are very intentional with those movements and the things that we do. We always go into our defensive work with individuals. So we'll split our infield and outfield separately, and then they'll do their individual works in partners. So they partner up. They'll, for example, outfield, they'll do drop steps, bare hand, and then they'll reinforce with their gloves on, working on communication skills, calling ball, and then same thing with fundies for the infield. They're partnering up, throwing short hops for both front forehand, backhand, scoops. They're, you name it, they're doing it, and then we do bare hand drills and then we reinforce with the glove on going into fungo. So once we do our individual work, before I move forward into why when we go into our group work, our individual work is very important. We do professional warm-ups where, you know, it's not just your regular high knees. Like we give the kids about 6 minutes to themselves to stretch on the muscles that are aching more, to kind of just give them moments to just kind of uh how would I say, to meditate their pregame their pregame plan for their practice when they're going into their individuals. So then after we let our students do their individual fundies, they're going into groups. Groups are very important. They're key. We assign each coach to the specific positions that they are working with, and they work with that group the entire season. Um, I believe that is a great method because it shows preparation. It shows that they have their team within their team, specifically towards their positions. So then they're able to push each other. When coming together as a group, we work on pretty much the same thing. So we're going from individual ground ball work, fly ball work to pop up communication, balls to the fence. We always like to start with the outfield and then condense them to come in so we can finish off our infield with runners on base, utilizing our outfield. But we have a purpose for everything and everyone has a role, and it helps us, you know, grow when we're doing our first and third situations and rundown situations, including bunt defense and championship play reviews. Um, Moving forward, you're wondering, well, when do you have time to work with your pitchers and catchers? Uh, our bullpens serve a plan and a purpose. We even include those pitchers and catchers who do go to private instructors outside of us. So we make sure that they're getting a certain number of pitches a week to help not only condition but strengthen and endure their endurance as we prepare, because we only have 2 weeks before first game. So, you know, we have our bullpen sessions where they are working on hitting locations. We run through sequences. We will also do mock reviews of certain rosters and lineups that we would potentially face and do a review. with the pitcher and catcher, or we'll do it as a group. Um, and then we move on into our offensive rotations, which also include our base running. For the offensive group rotations, it's very simple for me. We are always doing live on the field. We have a shag group, and then we have our cage group, where the cage group's working on front toss and tee work. And then we will advance our offensive groups most times by creating count situations. And usually, with that, it really does help present more of a up to bat scenario that will give them a game like experience. And we'll chart these things and review later down the line, what's going on with our thinking versus why, if is a mechanical issue. Moving forward with that, there are intentional planning dates that we will provide our players in advance that we're going to scrimmage and do inter squads. So scrimmaging is really fun for us because we have, thank God, pitchers that can pitch, and that really does help us prepare for game like situations. And it also gives our hitters an opportunity to be selective and to be creative in game situations. I always end our day before game day. We always have a pregame, and this is a warm up where we are all out on the field and everyone is getting, balls in the outfield to throw to bases, infields throwing to bases with bunt coverages. It's a fun way and expectation to just create um, our energy and to see how we can set the tone going into our game the next day. It is our way of getting nice long reps, but also being productive and executing things on time. Strength and conditioning programs, they are required. Like, if you want to be successful, you need to make sure they are taking care of their bodies, working on getting faster and stronger, their mobility, making sure that they are getting as many reps as possible. So as coaches, if you're given facilities and conditioning strength coaches, awesome. If you don't, create one. Like, you should be able to provide this plan for your off season and in season. So just be very intentional and try to provide that for them, because this is this is the secret of how to maintain, how to grow, how to drive success. Game day decision. So a lot of us go through it where we're trying to figure out starting lineups. They may stay the same for a while and they may change. You have to just trust your gut and go with it, and also know the game well enough to make adjustments at the right time. When you're missing key players, do not question yourself. I had moments where I was missing all of my left side of the field, and I had to figure out, okay, athleticism versus IQ. And sometimes I went with athleticism because I could bet my money that that person was going to get there and find a way to stop a ball. And so, you just have to know how to communicate these things. I would always print out a calendar of the month and show the games that we have. And then I would sit all my players for where we are at this point of our season. And I would point out, okay, look, we're healthy in this, and that area. We are missing this. And I will call those that I feel are the potential substitutes for this. And I let them know, either pulling them to the side, or we do it in person with the team if I feel like they're a personality that can handle that. But I felt like being transparent and honest and letting them know, hey, look, I am looking to you for this because I'm missing this. I believe it helps my players understand and also be team players to step up and see and to also seize their moment to do their part. and to know that I have their back and that I need them as well. Adjusting every at bat. You have to know when to call um, people's bluffs and know that, they just aren't seeing it. And you have to know who your secondary and thirds are. You need to have those discussions. I had carried 5 freshmen, and about 3 of them, maybe actually 2 of them, I was mostly looking at and trying to give pinch hit at bat opportunities in big game situations because I knew that getting down to state, they would be a little bit more comfortable when that moment came if someone wasn't doing their part in our out of our starting nine. So with that being said, you have to you can just make the call and live with it, but I'm a caring person where sometimes it was tough when I had to pull people, but this season was a little different because I actually had these conversations and prepared people, letting them know, hey, you may not be starting right now, but this is where I see you. And I need you to pay attention and have these mental at bats to prepare, if this hitter isn't doing their part and I'll need your help. And I believe I got a lot of good responses from my players. And I think they appreciated that honesty. And so, I think that's going to be very helpful to anyone who's trying to be successful. Situational communication, you have to have constant talk on the field. It can't be chatter, it has to be situational. You need to be able to know where the ball is going to go when it's hit to you. You need to be able to speak it out loud, and you need to teach your players to do that. I feel like it's just too many times where we see band-aid fixes where, you get lucky and the ball gets hit to you, but you're not really thinking the game, and you really didn't know where you're going to go. And I think as coaches we need to help our players understand, you know, and use whiteboards for example where you're mapping out what, where the ball's hit, where does each position go in that situation. Sit down with your team and let them, alternate people that are going to be writing on that board, like drawing lines of, okay, this position player is going here and the ball is going to be thrown here. And you need to create that dialogue because it's now presenting a learning environment where they're not even doing the reps on the field and expected to execute. It's executing the mind and executing the game strategy that we need to create these discussions. Also resting. You need to make sure that you know when to rest people. You need to know who your aces are and strategize how you can get your secondary and third to help pull the weight on that. But also, making sure that everyone in as a team, if you're not going to get their best in a practice, call it. Let them go early. Let them be kids. Let them go study. You have to know when to make those calls. It's not give it all and die. Like you that's not realistic. And you got to remember we're human, they're human. And if you don't know when to rest, even for yourself, you're going to hurt the program. Pushing through it. So we talked about, how when we get through the season and it's, the nitty gritty of, okay, people are falling out like flies. I need backup. How can I do this? So whiteboard talks. We always, every week before we enter postseason, we would lay out the lineup. Then we would lay out a secondary lineup with the subs. And then we would do a third. And we would just discuss like the whys and the hows and what we were going to do to get better. And I feel like visually that helped us as a staff. And this isn't just to do with your players, this is something to do with your staff because it helps kind of activate everyone's, you know, game thought process and survival thought process, and you're able to create this dialogue where you can talk about the uncomfortable, which leads to facing conflict. There are issues that come up out of nowhere, whether it's academic based, family based, or not starting, or confidence. You have to do this directly in person. You have to face it head on and have that discussion. Um, if you cannot have a conversation uh, when conflict arises, you're going to always be uncomfortable and you're going to always question your decisions because you're worried, and you shouldn't worry. You're the leader, you're the coach, you're the mother, you're the father. You are there to help guide them, and you chose to be that person for the team. So there's no backing out. You have to be comfortable with this, which leads to what really helped me out a lot. And that's an open door policy. I make it known at the very beginning of the year, throughout the year, that my students can come to me no matter what. Um, I believe, as when we deal with the woman athlete, um, that because we naturally are caring beings, this helps. This helps create trust. This helps build trust. This helps um, creates a safe bubble for your people, and they need that no matter what. No judgments um, are allowed, because it's an open door policy for them to feel welcomed and loved and feel safe. Sometimes that open door policy creates tough conversations. And with tough conversations, we have to be able to speak with love and with guidance. And you have to also know when to bring it to their attention if they are wrong or if they need extra help. You are a part of their world, and you have to be ready for that. Also knowing your role, helping your people understand their roles. If it's bucket duty to picking up the locker room after the end of the day, or prepping the field for after a long day of games, everyone has a role and they have to do it. It is what keeps the relationship strong. It's what helps build character. It's what helps build better relationships and memories for the kids. It also, is a way to give back to the sport, making sure that everyone is on board. Last but not least, supporting your players. You need to know your student and the institute. You need to really understand when you have academic based players, when you have not so great academic players, and you need to also know your support system um, at your school, knowing the right people that can help you when you are trying to build a better program and better people in your group. You need to make sure you have clear communication. You need to make sure that they understand your policies, um, that and that way they're able to be protected. Curfews, to knowing, uniforms, and if they know because you're clear, they're not going to run into any issues. Remember, this is a professional environment and you have professional interactions. You should always make sure that uh, you have other staff around you to support you, to support them. You need to also make sure that your players understand what a professional environment and interaction is. There's no such thing as a closed door or conversations behind closed doors by ourselves. There's always a secondary or third person, professional um, or staff member involved. Um, so just be very careful that you are the one that creates those boundaries, and those boundaries need to stay and be clear that students must respect them. Prepare them for it all. So you need to be able to help your players perform better. You need to be honest with them when they are not performing better, and you need to also compliment them and speak to them when they are. Let them know when they are doing the right things, even the smallest things of hustle to asking good questions. You need to be able to prepare them all strategically when it comes to learning the opposing team, um, showing them what our weaknesses are so they can understand and practice what we need to do better at. If you can't do that, then you're going to be a disservice to the program and to yourself because they need to know what to get better at and growing and um, how to be better athletes in that way. And you preparing them for it all is going to take them further than they thought. So learn and grow. You need to reflect. You need to reflect on your season. You need to reflect on your decisions. You need to reflect on how you handle situations. You just need to like just go in a moment of deep thought, um, and just look at the situations. Don't question it. Just look and try to be in those moments where you're just like, okay, I did that. I did this. Wasn't great, but I need to face the facts that, okay, this is what happened. Now receive. You need to be able to receive criticism. You need to be open to it. In order for you to learn and grow, you need to be open to receiving constructive criticism. Because if you don't, you are going to be the same coach you were last year. And if nothing's changed, nothing's going to get better for you. Recover. You need to be able to recover from the information you just sat through, the feedback you got, the feedback you learned on each player and what they thought of you, your reviews. You need to be able to not take it too serious or personal. And you need to know that it's going to be okay, that you're opening yourself to reflect on what's occurred and then receive information and criticism and then you recover from it, because the best part is restore. You need to restore yourself. You need to take the good with the bad, the salty and sweet. You need to be able to take all of that stuff that you just learned from your season and you need to elevate it. You need to know that you're going to be more creative. You're going to care more. You're going to be more intentional. And that's what it takes to drive a successful program. When you can go and reflect on your good and bad and receive the criticism that's necessary from both your players, parents, your staff, recover, know when you have to calm yourself down and be silent and be still and allow yourself to evolve. And then it's restoration, being able to move forward and re recreate your plan to make it fresh, to make it new, to um, just restore everything that you thought you lost. Like, know that you didn't and that it's just getting stronger and better. So with that being said, this is my presentation to y'all. I really hope you enjoyed it and that you took a lot from it. I'm open to any questions. You can email me. Um, and if you guys enjoy this, I hope you share it. So thank you so much for your time, and I hope you guys take care. All right. Hi, my name is Perlini Bush. I am the head softball coach for the varsity program at the Lovett School, located here in Atlanta, Georgia. Today, I will be talking to you guys about something that I feel really resonated and really kind of captures everything that I experienced this year. So today's topic is how to drive your success as a first year coach. So if you guys give me a moment, I'm going to go ahead and share my screen with y'all. And I really hope that you guys in the coaching world, that you guys are teachers, you guys are parents, you guys are probably even decorated coaches before your position here. So I just wanted to be able to give back to those that gave to me, and I hope you guys enjoy.